So the Battlefield 6 changes are starting to roll out thick and fast now. Recently we saw the introduction of the Challenge Reroll system, a brand new casual breakthrough mode that appears to be quite popular with players who want a slightly more relaxed experience at the moment. And now we're seeing changes and fixes start to appear for some of those ridiculous challenges that the game launched with back in October. We've also got more information now on some of the other issues that developers are tracking currently, ones that they've already fixed as well and that they're waiting to roll out in a patch, and other community suggestions that the developers are currently listening to. I do think it goes without saying that since the launch of Season 1, we've had a few issues. Things haven't quite gone to plan the way the team might have hoped for, but if this isn't your first Battlefield game, you've likely experienced much worse than this. I'm looking at you, Battlefield 4. So in this video, I'm going to cover all the details that you need to know about what the team is working on for Battlefield 6 and how it's going to make the game better and probably more enjoyable for you to play. So go on and drop a like on the video to support it. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We're covering everything Battlefield 6 here, multiplayer and RedSec, and we're trying to hit 1 million subscribers as well. So if you haven't clicked that button, click it right now and you could help us get there. That'd be awesome. Right, let's start with the challenges update then. You may have already noticed that a portion of this has gone live in Battlefield 6. Last night, the developers pushed these changes into the game without the need for a patch to be downloaded, which is awesome. And this means that a significant portion of the challenges and assignments that were causing us all headaches have now been addressed. According to the Battlefield Studios team, the changes that have been made to challenges have been guided by feedback directly from players, as well as data collected from within the game to identify which challenges were causing the most frustration and were taking too long to complete, well beyond what was originally intended by the team. The idea is that each challenge or assignment should be able to be completed within a reasonable session time, and that the challenge doesn't deviate gameplay too far from the general style that a player would expect, meaning that someone should be able to keep an eye on their challenges and complete them whilst playing the game, basically normally. The assignments, specifically, separate from challenges, they will continue to feature some regular goals to achieve via normal gameplay, while some of the other ones that will push you into the mastery territory, they're going to take a bit longer to complete and will push players to specialize their playstyle in order to finish them. And this is particularly the case when the assignment rewards a cosmetic item. Now, not all of the challenges and not all of the assignment changes have gone live in this server-side update. More tweaks and adjustments will be coming in the near future via other server-side updates and client patches as well, so expect more changes in the future. There may be challenges and assignments that you look at right now and say, well, that's still ridiculous. It's likely that that one just hasn't been updated yet. There have been over 90 specific changes that happened in the server-side update yesterday, and no, I won't be covering them all in this video. That would take forever. But I do have some highlights that will give you some idea at the scale of the adjustments that we're now looking at, and that will better set expectations for how challenges and assignments will be set moving forwards. So firstly, a couple of class challenge examples. Assault number 2, which has squad mates deploying on your spawn beacon, has had its amount reduced from 50 spawns down to 5. And Support 2, revive teammates as support, has had its revive count reduced from 200 down to 60. Now, those reductions sound pretty drastic, and some of you out there might now consider these assignments too easy to complete, but I'm going to return to something that I said in a video a couple of weeks ago when the devs first mentioned they were reworking all of these challenges and assignments. We're now nearly a month post-launch for Battlefield 6, and all of these challenges and assignments were originally designed as a way to coach and guide players into the multiplayer, implement further progression beyond weapon grinding, and career rank. We're now at a stage, post-launch, where a significant portion of players haven't unlocked a wide variety of weapons and gadgets that are, in some cases, fundamental to gameplay. So, the developers needed to massively lower the barriers so that these items could be unlocked by almost everybody and then started to be used in-game. So take that scenario as context for the rest of these challenges assignments, and you'll start to understand why some of them have come down so much. Next, weapon assignments. For all weapon types, these have been significantly simplified. The example we've got here is Rapid Fire 1/Assault Rifle. It's had its damage with assault rifles reduced from 10,000 to just 3,000. So you'll see reductions like this across the board for assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs, shotguns, DMRs, snipers, and carbines as well. Then for mode assignments, the developers have standardized the unlock requirement across all game modes to require just 2 wins per tier, making it quicker and easier to progress through. However, some of the later tiers require specific actions within a game mode to complete them. So for example, Conquest 3, that used to require 30 objective kills in a round, which is a pretty lofty target for even the most dedicated players. This has now been reduced to 10 kills. And then the gameplay and mastery assignments. These originally were set up based on what the devs believed would be outlier or rare performance from a player, incentivizing them to keep pushing to try and complete them. However, I think that was overly ambitious due to the number of variables in a Battlefield match that could derail your attempt, so changes have been made to scale back that focus on more general performance within the natural rhythm of gameplay. So, for example, Explosives Expert 2, getting multi-kills with explosives, that means 2 or more kills in one go, reduce the number of multi-kills needed from 20 down to 5. And then Adaptable 2, repairing damaged vehicles' health in a life, has been reduced from 3,000 to 500. As I said earlier, all of these changes I think have been drastically reduced now to accelerate progression through those challenges and assignments to make sure that players now nearly a month post-launch have access to all the weapons and gadgets that they pretty much expected to have their hands on by now anyway, and it lets everyone start progression on those items individually. And again, more of those adjustments will be coming in future updates as well, so expect some of the challenges that were missed this time to be changed in the near future. Now, we're going to talk about some of the more glaring issues with Battlefield 6 right now, and perhaps surprisingly, how pretty much all of them are either being tracked, worked on, or have already been fixed internally, and are waiting for a patch to roll them out. Yesterday, David Sirland, Battlefield lead producer, took to social media to ask for feedback from players about what they thought were some of the most pressing issues with the game for them. And then he went on a mad blitz just replying to loads and loads of comments. It was pretty cool to see that level of communication from the devs, I've got to say. But in those replies, we learned a lot about what the team is working on fixing. So let's get into this rather extensive list. I think it makes for pretty good reading. Several players immediately responded asking for larger multiplayer maps. This isn't directly a bug with the game, but it is certainly feedback that is shared quite widely. And I agree with it. I do think Battlefield 6 map offering trends too small right now, chasing that much faster time to engagement. Fans themselves have been using Portal already to make larger maps. I recently saw a video that Jack posted where he showed off a Conquest layout using the RedSec Battle Royale map, Fort Linden, and it took massive areas of the north part of the map using the golf course and loads of areas around that to really give a larger sense of scale. And it looked really, really cool, I've got to say. Now, Sirland responded saying maps along with weapons is the biggest area that they will keep adding to over time with the seasons, but that the team is also looking to fix issues with the current maps as well, changing things up to make them better. And this includes fixing what was a hilarious glitch when it first appeared, the Sledgehammer drone glitch, but has now become a bit of a game wrecker. Players are boosting themselves up to really high areas, accessing rooftops that potentially were never intended to be accessed. Sirland has stated that this drone glitch is something that will be fixed in the next patch for the game, as well as removing access to rooftops that the team never intended to be part of the play space. Another major bit of feedback that I've seen countless times already, and was also given in response to David Sirland, is support for matchmaking with more than 4 players. Due to the overwhelming push for players to use matchmaking in Battlefield 6, it's right there in the tiles front and center all the time, versus using the server browser to find official persistent servers to join. Currently, it's next to impossible for larger groups to get into the same matches. Now, Sirland stated this is something that the team wants to solve, and that we should expect updates in this area, along with improvements to social play as well. The comment around that came from a question asking for platoon support, and this is something I'd love to see back in Battlefield. Another interesting mention from Sirland was that currently it's difficult to find the official Battlefield hosted servers in the server browser. These are persistent servers that use the official rules, and they go round in a map rotation, and they don't rematch make after every match, so you all stay in the same lobby. Right now, to get into these servers, you have to use the Portal server browser. But it's been requested that these servers get filled initially by standard matchmaking to kick them off, and then players can jump in via the server browser once they're full. This is not something that currently Battlefield 6 supports, but I'd love for that to become a thing in the future. Persistent servers in the server browser, joinable whenever you like, populated by matchmaking initially so they're healthy with players. That would be really cool. Sirland also confirmed the team are aware of the IFV painted missile insta-kill issue and the air radar not working currently. Both of these issues are being fixed in an upcoming patch, but I've just seen a tweet from Battlefield.com saying they have disabled the lock-guided missile for the IFV. So that's a win for everybody. Now, we just have to ask the question, why did it take 3 weeks for this thing to be disabled when the issue has been present pretty much since about 3 days after the launch of the game? Also, there's been a weird bug in the game where I think if you jump very soon after being revived and get killed instantly when you touch the ground again, yeah, that's a bit of a weird bug, but it's now been identified and fixed. I saw a response from Drunksy about that, so if I can find his response on Twitter, I'll stick it up on the screen. In terms of issues discussed wider than what David Sirland spoke about yesterday, I also have a bit of a list that I can share there as well. Official and verified Portal servers will be returning to their previous 60Hz tick rate, but this can only happen when the Battlefield Studios team has fully cleared out all of the XP bot farm servers that have plagued Portal for the last few weeks. I was watching another video from Espresso, actually, and he made a really good point that the reason perhaps Casual Breakthrough has been introduced into Battlefield 6 with its hybrid real players and bots setup is to provide a place for players to play in the way that they wanted to play on the XP bot farm servers, mainly against bots, to use that as opposed to using Portal, which essentially circumvented the entire progression system, which, as we know, was far too difficult to use until it was patched yesterday. I'd never really considered that point of view, so I'm kind of glad that I watched Espresso's video. The team is still aware that it's hard to find the official Battlefield experiences within the Portal server browser, though, and there will be more general UX and UI changes coming to the server browser that can help you find that stuff. It's a bit messy at the moment if you don't know what you're doing, so I'm glad to hear that they're going to try and clear that up. Across the game, there are various audio issues that are being looked at. You'll likely have experienced those quite heavily in the RedSec Battle Royale, with tanks being completely silent sometimes, helicopters being muffled and not making any sound until you turn round and look at them in the sky, and then suddenly the audio pops in, and even simple enemy footsteps being completely missing sometimes. The team is working on all of this, and they will be looking into the audio mix to make sure they work out what's needed. The team is actively looking at the weapon bloom and recoil. We spoke about this in my last video, actually. The team has acknowledged that these two elements combined are making weapon readability very difficult in some cases, and there are several bugs that have been found and reproduced and fixed for an upcoming patch. Rush and breakthrough layouts are being looked at for potential changes. Yay, pretty much all the layouts suck apart from a couple of maps, so that's good to hear. And lastly, the weird ladder astronaut jump thing that sends you flying when you get onto the ladder, that's been isolated and reproduced internally now, so that will get fixed in a future update. So that's a lot of issues that are being fixed, which is good news. So just as we finish, I wanted to highlight that EA has given me a creator code that you can use to support me in the EA app or the Battlefield web store. So if you're in the market for some Battlefield coins to buy some cosmetics in-game, or you buy some of the bundles like the Season 1 Advanced Pack or whatever, if you use code Westie when you check out, I'll get a little kickback. On the Battlefield web store, you can log in with your EA account, and if you link your console account to that, you buy anything on the Battlefield web store, it will then automatically appear in-game for you, even if you're on console. No pressure, but if you do want to support me, you can do it that way if you want. Thanks for watching, guys. Like the video and subscribe for more. I'll catch you soon.